live? There we go. Hello. I am now officially live. Okay. Cool. I'm going to jump straight into this. If my game overlay will let me, I was playing up a bit last night while I was testing, but I very much hope that it fixed itself, because it would be a very, very painful scenario to have this not work now, of all times. Okay, Snowbreak Containment though is what we're getting straight into here. Let's hope. Alright. Okay. Looking okay. It's got the audio. There you go. Okay. Cool. It does seem to be working. That's good. Alright. We're probably gonna... I lose my... Do I? Wait. I haven't lost my, avatar frame. Oh, no. Wait. I haven't lost it. Okay. Well. That's fine with me. Okay. I'm gonna get dailies out of the way before anything. And then we'll probably go straight into the event, maybe? I'm not 100% sure what I want to do straight off the bat. But I do know that main story is one of them. I want to do the main story of Ballad of Chaos. I'm just gonna get my dailies out of the way. Which also includes a base interaction. Melody, get those. Okay. It is going to be a little more annoying now, because I have to probably boost my stamina a bit, but that's fine. Is that... Ooh, it is M1. Sweet. Okay. That improves my Genshin quite a bit. Okay. I'm not sure if this is good audio at the moment. I can't quite tell. I should probably run... Oh, that's what I'll run first. I'll run Gigalink and just check it out. Which is a pain to queue sometimes. So, just gonna might be here for a bit. And if not, I can always just go in solo, but I would rather a teammate, at least one. Oh wow, is that Hush? It is Hush. Sona. Okay. Where's my water? There it is. Katya? That's our new operative. Here we go. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. I'm not actually sure how good Katya would be in Gigalink, considering she's very new. Could pretty easily do this though. Yeah, the audio seems a bit. The audio seems fine. Yes. General expansion. We always love that. That's our last enemy? Okay. That seems good. I'll take that. Hey, that was pretty good. Very quick. And I'll take that. Okay. Now. Yep, that. 100% that. Okay. Now getting sleight of hands would be huge. Double the mag size. Half the reload speed. It would be insanely strong. I'll take that. I'm gonna end up being so strong. We still have a little bit to go. And we haven't even gotten our area challenge yet, so it's great. I'm just passive 50% great. Within 60 seconds? Easy. That is easy. Okay. You're already fighting the boss. You did not wait for us. Wow. Okay. Yo. How we doing, Dev? quite surprised he did not wait for us at all. But there we go. Oh, what? That didn't... Okay. That can do any damage to cubes. Let's go. One down, one to go for, whoa. Am I lagging? I think my, no. It seems okay. It did seem a little... I looked over and it did seem a little laggy, but... This should be... Oh, that's Katya. I thought it was, Moxie. Which makes sense. Katya is the newest operative. Alright. Another one of those, and then we can probably go... Oh, I haven't done my base. I haven't done my base encounter yet. So we'll do my base encounter. And then we'll go do main story. First buff. All pretty meh. Second buff. Honestly, isn't too bad. Chance to subdue is pretty good. Okay. Auto ricochets. SMGs, but we'll get there eventually. There we go. Okay. Max HP. Ooh, that was not max HP. What was that? Becoming informer. Okay. You know what? I'll take that too. That stacking damage is crazy. Warm up, basically, no. That's probably discordant. Did something just go down? I'm hearing someone going down. Who's going down? It's our Haru. What are you doing? standard skill damage. Okay. Just about there. We need next 2 rooms. And the last 2 rooms before the boss. And we don't have a big enemy. We just have 2 small enemies. I don't think we've had our area challenge yet, though. Which again is the it's gonna be the second time it's been in the last area in a row. Which is honestly quite rare. Cat is sliding. The animations just said no. Iron body. Okay. My freeze doesn't work. Freeze is fine. Shoot in the back. There you go. Sweet. Okay. Who's that boss? Gavin again. Okay. These are pretty bad. Unfortunately. Yeah, these are pretty bad. And what is with our Haru and just starting the fight without waiting for us? Oh wow, that hit me? I'm gonna get to where its armor is not facing me. This is just gonna constantly ricochet and I'm gonna... English is what I'm not gonna do. Okay, that's it. 2 for 2. There we go. That's all I need to do today. Alright. That's 2 for 2. Alright, now I think we get to the main story. Oh, wait, no, the base encounter. That's what I was forgetting. Who was it with? Silas, okay. Hello. Okay. Oh god, new players would have no idea. Acacia was I shouldn't... I don't know if I should spoil, because technically I'm at the end, quote-unquote, of the story. Interesting. And I probably will, oh. That's true. Okay, that was kind of cute. I will be reading the story part of things when we get to that, which will be right now. This is part 1 as well, which is going to be amazing. To think that there are potentially going to be more than just this. Okay. It was a dreary winter afternoon. There was a single figure in the empty office, her back to the seat as she gazed through the floor-to-ceiling windows at the lifeless streets below. Her back and neck were straight as an arrow, and she tucked her chin in slightly. She had maintained this posture for several years, cold, tough, and blunt. Without even opening her mouth, those traits were obvious to others. On one hand, she always accomplished what she wanted. On the other hand, maybe someone should ask her about her sore shoulders and her tightly furrowed brow. Director. Train will be arriving at Northwind Aerospace Center in 2 hours. A representative from Barency Priber will be there to receive us. Right. Already doing things I can't pronounce. Eachel's, I'm just gonna say Eachel, because that's what it was. Tess? Or Director? Who's the top waifu? Eachel's condition is pretty good. She's doing better than expected. Please don't worry. We'll ensure a smooth and safe handoff to Duchess all over. Are you listening, Director? That clear voice sounded from the communicator like the chirps of a robin. She liked that voice. Not long ago, it had brought happiness and coaxed a rare smile out of her. But now, although she didn't find it displeasing, she inevitably felt some resentment. After being shot at Leviathan Squad, the girl that T had herself raised into a formidable operative was no longer under her control. A rift had formed between them. Fair. Where is me? The adjutant is with Echel. It seems like she really likes him. She only wants to be around him. What a surprise. I actually applied with the adjutant to be the one to contact you. After we handle everything here, I want to talk to you after I get back to the company. Alright, what do you want to talk about? Never mind, it's nothing. Let's stick to business. I'll give you a mission report on the Oswell steel mill as normal. Ji Chenxing and Sidious already gave me reports. You've all done a great job getting results. Tell him he doesn't need to avoid me, and he has to be more careful moving forward. Northwind Aerospace Center is the most complex region in Eurus. I'm not pronouncing that. The faction takes a very aggressive approach in the area. They might not adhere to the various treaties between the military and Yzigdris God. Yggdrasil? I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't remember, to be honest. And that guy you ran into, Millwood, was a member of... No. His refugee resettlement committee is incredibly powerful. You all need to be careful. Leviathan operatives are already in the combat area. According to their intel, Northwind Aerospace Center is controlling all communications and blocking information. And make use of all over and figure out a way to get rid of the tree in Containment Zone 91. I was proved wrong. The frigid wind bit at my neck, wrists, waist, and ankles. Everywhere it could encroach. I couldn't help but grit my teeth to refrain from shivering all over. It's freezing. The platform was practically deserted as dusk fell. The structure was of a brutalist style common across Yaris, and looked like an icy monster under the dark sky. And Haru, the girl next to me, and I all somehow looked like it's dinner. There's Ichil. Ichil Gustav. I silently recited her name to myself, my gaze fixed on her as I was lost in thought. Thin clothes were draped over her frail figure, and she stared at something with wide eyes. Are you okay? I took that ambiguous nasal sound as a response and saw it as progress over the last few hours. I don't even know how long I'd spent trying to communicate with her before the train arrived. Tessa told me about some of Ichil's past, but it was clear she'd suffered far more than... There was nothing wrong with her mind, but it seemed that her language skills were stunted at the level of a child. The people from Barency Again, I don't know. Pribor? I'm just gonna say Pribor. Barency Pribor are late. Adjutant, why don't you take Ichil back to the carriage and wait there? It's too cold out here. That was fine by me. Standing there wouldn't do us any good, and I was worried about Ichil freezing to death dressed like that. Nah, I don't wanna. Before I could put my hand on her shoulder, the little girl straightened up and spoke. Her brazen tone caught me off guard, but Haru couldn't help but laugh softly as she stood off to the side. It smells in there. It's yucky. She was referring to the lingering stench of blood in the carriage coming from Millwood and his men. You have a choice. Block the cold or comfort. Whatever. Keep it warm. I walked over to Ichil, squatting down and doing my best to block the cold wind assaulting her. Not far away, there seemed to be a trace of anger in Haru's sharp gaze. She's jealous, isn't she? Oh. I used a magic trick I learned from Tess to make a bouquet of toy flowers appear. According to Tess, Ichil seemed to love this type of stuff. You're going to get sick if you stand out here. I'm not cold, and there's something bad staring at me over there. I don't want it to win. Or she's having a staring contest with something. Her response shocked me. As soon as she finished talking, I immediately whipped my head around to look in the direction she'd indicated. Haru was also on alert right away. But soon after, my and Haru's anxiety turned into doubt. There was no danger in the little girl's line of sight. Instead, there was only a large building and a few tall, vague structures that looked like towers. What is that place? I'm not sure. We don't have a ton of intel on Northwind Aerospace Center. That's the Sizdal. And she probably just fell out of something. That's the Sizdal launch base. It was the most renowned site for aerospace tech research during the former Yaris Federation. It's also the only military facility under Barency Prober's control. It's at the center of Containment Zone 91, and the tree we have to handle is in there. Tess stumbled out of the carriage, bounded over to Ichil, and reached out to pinch her cheek. Yeah? The startled little girl let out a dissatisfied yelp and jumped behind me. I reached out and grabbed Ichil's arm without thinking. What? What's going on? flashback? The moment my hand made contact with Ichel's arm, a depressing sensation of stifling heaviness immediately overcame me. Starting with my scalp, the sensation followed my neural network to spread throughout my entire body. In the next second, an intense burning sensation engulfed my heart, and all of my muscles stiffened as if they had frozen. There, I saw something that no one should ever have to see. Restore its glory. Seize, usurp, resurrect. The Federation will forever be one. In the warped brilliance, I saw countless Yarrow citizens marching toward the tree. They approached it, embraced it, then became one with it. Oh, she's back. Come. Join Valhalla. Adjutant? Adjutant, what's wrong? The strange, disordered sensation disappeared in the blink of an eye. When I snapped back to reality, I was kneeling down, and Tess and Haru were staring at me with worry in their gazes. Ichel pulled her arm away, looking at me with alert and fearful eyes as she slowly stepped back. So is she a carrier of Ada then? Maybe. Ichel, don't be afraid, come back. There seems to be a problem with the language production in my central nervous system. Even saying a few simple words took an immense amount of effort. It's the bad stuff. It's always been there. They keep telling me to go there, but I won't. You can't go either. Oh, so it's not just me that gets those. And before I could even pass what Ichel was mumbling about, Haru suddenly stood upright in front of me and glanced toward the platform exit. It looks like someone from Barency Pribor. Apologies, Adjutant, I got held up on the way. I'm Duchess Allover's assistant. She instructed me to come here. Are you okay? No, clearly not. Tess supported my arm, helping me stand up slowly. I'm alright. Are you the only one who came? Please forgive us. Barency Pribor doesn't mean any disrespect whatsoever. The situation at Northwind Aerospace Center is unique, so it's a bit difficult for us to spare more employees to welcome you now. That's not what I'm worried about. I just thought Duchess Olova would be more concerned with Ichel's safety. The Duchess cares deeply about the safety of everyone in your party. Please don't worry. As for the local forces stationed here, I know the faction has caused you and your operatives a lot of trouble, but influence in Northwind Aerospace Center is mostly concentrated in Containment Zone 91. The train station, Orlov Mansion, and sections of the Free Streets are not under their control. So please don't worry, and follow me. Wow, this is a very long... This is very long. I was not expecting it to be this long. Oliver's assistant was courteous and genuine. He was seemingly desperate to prove that Barency Pribor, the company headed by his boss, was completely safe and friendly. But I couldn't shake the unrest I was feeling. I remembered what T had said to me before I'd left Yggdrasil headquarters. Give gifts, make friends. But could they really be our friends? I didn't necessarily have any expectations for what we would find in the Orlov mansion, but as I stepped through the grand doors, I couldn't help but show my surprise at the scene before me. What is going on here? Alcohol flowed as music and conversation mixed together into array. Noblemen and women donned masks in the mansion's incredibly luxurious ballroom, their bodies frantically yet elegantly prancing together in pairs. The Duchess's assistant remained calm as he led us in, but the two Heimdall operatives behind me had already begun gritting their teeth. Hang in there, Ichel. We'll get out of here soon. Tess couldn't stop herself from pulling Ichel close, covering the impulsive girl's eyes with her hand to prevent her from causing any trouble. I glared at the assistant as I tried hard to keep my tone cordial. Where is the Duchess? Get straight to the point. Please don't fret. It looks like you and your operatives aren't used to stuff like this. It's not that we're not used to it, it's that we don't approve. We saw plenty of impoverished refugees outside on our way here. It's like a different world in here. The Duchess put her blood, sweat, and tears into arranging this ball. I'd ask that you look past the ostentatious appearance for now. The Duchess is waiting for you all in the parlor on the second floor. If you don't mind, we should get moving. And perhaps the assistant finally learned how to read the room, because he walked in front of us to lead the way, but before I could take a step to follow along, a sudden commotion sounded from the ballroom. Here's Katya. A beautiful woman in stunning clothing sauntered down the steps in the back of the ballroom. With a soft smile, she drew all of the attention of the dancing crowd in an instant. Just as the intense clean blue hue of her gown began to hurt my eyes, my gaze met hers. I read her lips as they opened and closed gently. Caught you, Heimdall adjutant. If you don't want to die, run. But before the guests could follow her gaze and discover me, Haru and Tess pushed me out of the ballroom. We were suddenly in a hallway on the second floor of the mansion, waiting for Duchess all over to meet with us. The woman in the ballroom just now. Why do I feel like I've seen her somewhere before? Huh? Have you met her before? No, I just feel like she's dangerous. A sense of danger that I've felt somewhere else. That woman knows me. She just greeted me silently through the crowd. Maybe she's fought us during a past mission. Which she has. That, or I think we've seen her in chapter 11. Do you need me to watch her? There's no need for distractions. Let's see what Duchess Oliver has to say. The people in the room are coming out. Though she had been silent since we entered the mansion, Ichel suddenly spoke. Her statement captured my attention. She was staring at a room down the hallway when the door opened. We meet at last, adjutant. We have a lot to talk about, but I unfortunately have to postpone our meeting for now. Please wait for a bit in the parlor with your operatives. As for Ichel, I'll take her now. Wait. I stood between the tall woman and Ichel, staring her down and acting right away to put a stop to her unreasonable behavior. My superior sent me here to hand Ichel over to you, but I won't allow you to be so hasty. Before I even finished my sentence, Haru and Tess had already pulled Ichel aside to protect her. The woman standing before me frowned. After staring at me for a moment, she suddenly leaned in. Director T and I are partners, and you're Director T's right-hand man. She secretly sent you here so I could protect you, so I wouldn't expose you to danger. The mansion is at risk of being infiltrated. I'm about to smoke out the rats, and you need to keep a low profile, seeing as you shouldn't even be here. A sweet fragrance enveloped me, along with the words she spat in my ear. However, her sudden pointed behavior calmed me down and cleared my head. Can I help? The words that came out of my mouth were more than she could have expected. Astonished, she staggered backward and examined my face carefully. Ichel isn't ordinary, she's a manifestation. Even though T ordered me to hand her over to you, as commander of the Heimdall force, I have a responsibility to confirm some basics before officially handing her over. I should probably start only reading my lines, the adjutant's lines. I feel like that'd be better. That it? That's it. Okay. First cutscene down. That took a lot longer than I was expecting it to. Now we get combat scenarios. And we get to trial Katya. Cool. I wouldn't say naked. Ooh.
こいつら一体どこからバレンツ機器の制服まで着ている。なんか変です。あんなに厳重なセキュリティで
Stay hidden. Okay.
どうやって紛れ込んだんだろう。
Alright, so this is a stealth
他の
mission.
誰かが。詮索は後だ。 一つ一つ片付けるぞ。
I can jump as well. When an enemy sees you, they will become an alert. An alert meter is displayed above each enemy. When the meter becomes full, quickly leave their line of sight to avoid triggering combat. Hide yourself behind cover to avoid the enemy's line of sight. Blazing cover is vital to any stealth operation. Alright, what's next? Need to back up. Uh-oh. That was almost bad. Okay, I don't actually know where to go. Because you're not moving. You move back and forth. You stare at the wall. I'm out of there, line of sight. Okay. Cool. That's done. Satan and held the Duchess find. Okay. Uh-oh.
ウォーミングアップの時間さ。逃げなさい。大丈夫だ。リラックスしてもう一回やろう。慎重に。チャンスを逃しても気長に待てばいい。
So I have to wait because that one sees. That one will spot me. Turn around and keep moving. Good. Then I go. Yikes. Okay. You know, I really don't think that would work, but okay.
よし行こう。すべて嵐が連れ去った。
This. Do I just have to dash? Nope. That's how I do it.
暗号化
See
も
you
で
later.
きないの？
These guys are blind.
ハルさん、この先はやっぱり
Defeat the spies.
しかないよ。全部片付けろ。早く。
Okay.
これって猫ババじゃないの？ハルさん、わかったよ。彼らは全員フワルナ星団の兵士だ。軍の過激派。また何か企んでいるのか。ここは危険だ。テス、隙を見て分析員を連れてここから逃げてくれ。
Okay. That was... I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest. Yeah, the table strat. These guys are blind. I was just in their line of sight and got under a table while they were looking at me. They didn't see anything. No. Another one? Damn. Okay. Yeah, I'll only start reading my lines because these are... and narrator stuff. Okay. With the infiltration of her mansion taken care of for the time being, Duchess all over had us wait in the parlor on the second floor. She asked me to meet her in the ballroom personally to show me something. Ichil was sleeping deeply due to exhaustion and nervousness. I intended for both her and Tess to stay behind and take care of her, but before I could even reach the door, they blocked my path. I mean, true. Katya did just say, if you don't want to die, run. Ichil is the one who can't leave your sight. Listen to me and stay here with her. I won't be long. What did T tell you when you called her? Be careful, right? You're completely decked out in combat gear. You want to show yourself in public? You were active on the Yaris border for a long time, and the hall downstairs is crawling with local nobles with a lot of power. Can you guarantee not a single one will recognize you? Good point. Alright, take care of each other. I'm going to play along with the Duchess to see what trick she has up her sleeve. I left their worried gazes behind me as I opened the door and walked out. Whoa. Oh. Alright. Pavlina's about to die. She just called her old. In a secluded corner of the ballroom, I watched as the scene played out before me. The noble girl's gentle smile transformed into a cold sweat. She stood up fearfully, unsteadily shaking the wine glass in her hand. The liquid danced in the glass like boiling water. The terrified girl could no longer keep hold of her wine glass, causing the scarlet liquid inside to fall along with it. But before the glass could crash upon the table, Duchess all over deftly snatched it out of the air. She stared at the remaining wine in the glass, moving the medical nebulizer in her other hand to her mouth and breathing in deeply. I couldn't stop myself from following the Duchess's gaze. A tall, graceful man stood among the crowd as he drank with a group of older people. What? Bro just hooked her up instantly. Didn't even give him a chance. Didn't give her a choice. Didn't give him a choice. They're just together now, apparently. Duchess Olova didn't say another word, instead just narrowing her eyes and staring at the girl named Pavlina through her lenses. She looked like a menacing fox glaring at a cornered rabbit. After the girl put on a fake smile and walked through the crowd to Arsene, as ordered, the Duchess suddenly tilted her head and shifted her gaze toward me. With a silent prompt, I followed the Duchess into a quiet hallway at the back of the ballroom. She seemingly remembered the name of each and every person who was useful to her, regardless of their position or status. After the guards and barons in private uniform had locked the doors from outside, she walked over and set her trap. I only wanted to smile coldly, but was unable to stop myself from shaking my head. They were all scared of you. Yeah, one of the former Heimdall Force directors. You're calling them fence sitters, which means you still want to win them over to your side of the conflict by using each other's identity, right? Oh, whoops. I forgot to read that one. I don't know, but tell your people to secure the entrances and exits on the second floor. Don't let anyone get near each other's room. After saying this, I immediately rushed toward the parlor where each was, praying that nothing else out of my control had happened. There he is. An unnatural light permeated the cramped lab as the furious man slammed the experimental rod in the sands on the table in front of him over and over again. Dr. Kent. Dr. Kent was the one who made the Titans. As the frail girl slept in the sinister experimental pod, her smooth face gradually turned bitter. There seemed to be a voice deep within her consciousness that had been endlessly cursing her for a long time. Yeah, her. Amidst the frigid, unfeeling damnations, the girl's face grew increasingly warped. The pain she has endured was indescribable. The imprisonment and inhumane experiments she'd suffered destroyed her. In the deepest part of this nightmarish trauma, she could only find one thing. It was as wild as a flame, freedom of rage. By the time I rushed into the parlor, Tess and Haru were dripping with sweat and panting as they sat next to Ichil. Holding the bouquet of toy flowers, Ichil blinked at me with an exhausted look on her face. Ichil, how are you feeling? I reached out to touch her forehead without thinking, but Ichil painstakingly twisted her neck to avoid my touch. Ichil had also noticed the possible outcome of physical contact between us two. We were left with no choice but to ask the judges for help. Ichil, I'm going to ask that tall woman in white to come here and take you to a safe place, okay? Yeah, she doesn't want to go, clearly, and that makes sense. I was aware that she was disagreeing, but she didn't try to stop me either. What a horrible situation. I left the room, returning to the ballroom on the first floor to look for the Duchess. I couldn't rely on my communicator at a time like this, so I needed to explain the situation face to face. But as I jogged to the end of the hallway, a flash of blue suddenly appeared before me. Katya. Plain blue. A figure that I never could have imagined blocked my way. She grabbed my collar, shoving me hard against the wall of the hallway. Before I could react, she had already positioned her arms, knees, waist, and shoulders to secure the main joints of my limbs. For a moment, I was totally unable to move. Katya, clean. Yes, Katya, clean. I don't care how you survived the incident at the 5th research incident, but if you value your life at all, you will let me go. What are you even talking about? I tried to take advantage of her banter, relaxing my body in hopes of escaping. However, my efforts were only met with a chuckle and a firmer, more painful pressure. What do you want? Sounds like you might actually know something, and you were brave enough to break in here alone, but I still can't agree to your conditions. Just stop, Katya. If you leave now, I'll pretend nothing happened. As she laughed softly, something seemed to sparkle in her blue eyes. For some reason, I felt a sinister chill in my heart. In the next instant, she was holding a crossbow bolt in her free hand, aimed directly for my throat. The crisp sound of metal clashing was accompanied by a familiar voice. By the time I could tell what was happening in front of me, Haru had already drawn her blade and was standing between me and Katya. Where are Ichil and Tess? Don't even think about hurting us. Oh. I mean, sure. I think I missed the other one, but... She's crazy. Which, to be fair, makes sense. Because of what happened in Chapter 11. The blue figure in front of me and Haru disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a cloud of smoke from a grenade she'd thrown, but before the smoke grenade had even exploded, gunfire rang out in the ballroom behind us. Judging by the sound of shouting, cries, overturned furniture, and chaotic footsteps, it seemed like Katya hadn't come alone. The situation once again quickly escalated in a way I couldn't have predicted. Haru shielded me as we made our way back up to the second floor. Duchess Olova and her Barency probe guards were already standing at the parlor door. Each was surrounded by a circle of guards, protected in the middle. Tess looked at me nervously. I understood her worry, but we didn't have a choice right now. Duchess Olova, I don't want any hostility between us. You can take Ichil for now, but let me be clear, this is not an official handoff. Your people need to get Ichil to safety as soon as possible. Yggdrasil and Heimdall can't be held responsible if something goes wrong. What do you want me to do? She didn't come closer this time. Instead, she threw a stack of photos to me from the distance. Alright, next combat scenario. And yeah, I'm gonna use Kaya again because she's fun.
戦士常に備えを大事な客人と言っておきながら救援を自分たちに任せるとはつまり誰かに知られるとまずいお客さんなんだね。よしあいつらの正体をネタバラシしちゃいましょう。あのバレンツの公爵まで知らんぷり例の大事なお客さんってやらはこの先にいるみたい。待てよこの服何の価値もない。
There's one. So now just do they follow? Nope.
造法一位先進
Okay.
はっの方この程度かすり傷だ。これは名誉と比べれば何の価値もない。
Is two.
目標達成だが気を抜くな。
Okay.
問題ない。
Next one.
行こう。
Let's go, Kaya.
戦況をよく見ろ。
Heal.
迅速に交代するべきだった。
And then use
残
Kaya.
念。図星のようね。
Shotgun mode.
これって猫ババじゃないの？カーシアは極めて危険な人物だ。この騒ぎを起こしたのにきっと何か狙いがある。待て、分析員はどこに行った？まさかあの人はイチェルを狙ってるの？すべて嵐が連れ去った。
Is that it? Oh, okay. I think this is 2 in a row, if I remember correctly from previous
簡単
ones.
すぎよ。
And then that's another story. Nope. Okay. The next one's 2 in a row. The disturbance that Katy caused was much more severe than I'd imagined. Perhaps due to the fact that the nobles were all hiding something to begin with, they were scared at even the softest rustle of the trees. With that, the rescue process was far from smooth. I got called up by a few guests struggling to survive. When I came back to my senses, Haru and Tess were nowhere to be found, and communications were cut off. I was alone in the dark hallway. Terrified murmuring mixed with the faint sound of gagging reached me from the end of the hallway. I started to walk toward the source of the noise, but the hallway seemed practically endless. At some point, the air started to fill with a strange substance. It was stifling and heavy. My heart began to twitch painfully once again as my vision became hazy and distorted. It changed. Oh, are they using Belder inhibitors? As the body tensed and lungs compressed, all remaining air in the throat was squeezed out. The rough, rusty sound continued to draw me in. Whipping around in the blinding darkness, I spotted something indescribable. It changed. In the shadows, the person's body and features continued to warp and change. I recognized his face and understood some sort of hallucination was overcoming me. The last time I'd experienced this reaction was on the train platform when I came into contact with Ichil. The hallucination wasn't as strong as it was the first time, but the stifling heaviness on my body felt incredibly similar. Could there have been a connection between them? From where the young nobles named Arsene was lying on the ground, and a new voice sounded. It was weak, trembling, and full of fear. Still wearing her mask, the young woman's pale face was full of desperation and longing. After staring at her for a moment, I realized she didn't want my vision the same way other things did. After hesitating for a long while, I finally took a step toward her. As we were about to reach the doorway to the room they were in, Arsene, was sprawled out on the floor in a struggle, grabbed onto Pavlina's leg with his hands. Or maybe I should say, its hands. The disfigured being screamed and thrashed around, as if he wanted to drag her down with him into some hellish abyss. The few rays of moonlight streaming in from the window illuminated something in Arsene's hand. Shoot. Yeah, I want to shoot. Even though I was hallucinating, I couldn't just sit back and watch this girl get attacked in front of my own eyes. And if I saved her, I might be able to ask her a few questions. I took a deep breath and bit down on my lip hard, using the pain to regain a moment of clarity. I then drew my gun and aimed. As long as I pulled the trigger, my customized Yggdrasil weapon would... My hands and eyes began to tremble as the sensation of stifling heaviness grew even stronger. In a daze, I watched as Pavlina raised her hand up high and smashed what seemed to be a test tube over Arsene's head. The glass shattered, causing an odd liquid to burst out. Starting at his head, Arsene's body completely transformed into tightened crystals, but in but a few moments, subsequently evaporating without a trace. Her voice, weak and pitiful only moments ago, was now angry and venomous, like a curse. What was going on? What was she holding in her hand just now? After dragging me into the room, Pavlina hugged herself tightly and huddled in a corner. After some time, she opened her quivering mouth. What's the stuff you mentioned? Yeah, Q-Ajuvosis. The harsh ring of the communicator suddenly sounded, and power returned to the mansion at nearly the same time. The sudden bright light made it difficult for me to open my eyes. I could only hear Pavlina gasping next to me. Just as I realized what I was seeing, Pavlina had already sprung up and snatched the communicator from the two people she'd referred to as reporters. Did she just get shot dead? I didn't have any energy left to hear clearly what they were reporting. I was completely focused on Pavlina's body as it slowly fell. The poor girl had been shot in the chest, her eyes full of fear as she slumped to the ground. I couldn't help staring at her face. It still had the smallest amount of life in it, but I then saw something terrifying enough to make my heart stop. Pale blue crystals began to sprout from Pavlina's neck, sticking to her skin and spreading across her chin until they covered half her face. After the reporter shot her, she had transformed into a human-titan hybrid right before my eyes. And yet this indescribable monstrous creature exists clearly in my memory of Operation Breakpoint, to be specific. My fragmented memories were like rapidly spinning blades, throwing my consciousness into chaos. Gunshot after gunshot rang in my ears as I was in a trance, unable to discern reality from delusion. So it was Katya, I thought so. The blue ball, yeah, Katya claimed. Carrying as payment for the transaction, the slender intelligence worker strolled down the long street and turned into a cramped, dark alley at the end. Several of his similarly dressed companions stood in the dark, dead-end alley. Behind them, a poor man could be seen tied up, his mouth gagged. So you were a former director from your company. Haru didn't reply. Instead, she stood up slowly, sheathing her blade as she tossed what appeared to be a rustic badge over to Tess. I know that. They were reporters. If I hadn't acted, I wouldn't be here right now. I'll explain everything later. Help me up. We need to catch Katya first. The situation here in Yaris is way more complex than we thought. We can't let her have Ichil. No, I should say, we can't hand Ichil over to anyone. So now the question is Katya working with Olaf? My elbow just hit my desk. I apologize. So is Katya working with Olaf? I feel like that's something important to find out. Oh, that's a new enemy. だが任務完了まで気を抜くなよ。自分の立場をよくよく考えるといいわ、分析。それともあなたも会社に裏切られたいのかしら。私を理解するためにそこまでしたいの。情報。美しい音だ。 Okay. We're getting through. Chase down cat, y'all. Okay. So is the next one gonna be a cat boss fight, or it shouldn't be realistically? Because this would be, well, something tells me it's a Katya fight because I can no longer try El Katya. It's definitely a Katya fight. This open space is definitely an arena. Yep. I hate this boss because she's so quick. She moves around everywhere all the time. Okay, there's more than just that now. Actually, yeah, I need Tess, because if I get Tess... Wait, no. Not that. I need... Yes, ult. And then... I should be able to... Yes. Yes, yes. That's good. Okay. Now I just need to stun lock her. I need to ult and stun lock her. Which that might have just done. Yes. That went really well. Maybe Tess was worth getting, but I skipped her because I wasn't interested. Okay. What's next? Progress 4. I might go to Progress... I would say Progress 6, but Progress 6 is nearly the end. Might play it out to the end. I'm gonna put this on auto and take a thing of take some water. A gambler who's lost all her money, ready to pour even more to turn the tables in her favor. Excuse me. That was a voice crack. The headstrong woman was trembling with fury, and her chest, housing artificial lungs, quickly rose and fell. The air she sucked in through the medical nebulizer stimulated her sympathetic nervous system, immersing her in a pleasure that was both exciting and frightening at the same time. By the time Tess, Haru, and I stood in front of her ready for a showdown, she had already calmed her expression. She looked into my eyes with a half smile. Question. Your mansion was infiltrated from the inside out, Your Grace. Paired with some of the information I gathered before, it's hard for me to believe that you didn't let in some of those troublesome guests yourself. What are you trying to do here? She wants to tell a story? Huh, alright. I was curious to what she had to say. And you use this ball to sift out your allies and enemies. What happened to Ichol was an accident. No one could have known that Katya Clean would show up here, and no one knows why she wanted Ichol. You turned your mansion into a stage. All of the individuals and powers with a desire for Yeris were compelled to make an appearance. In your original plan, you wanted to use Ichol's identity to force those people's hands and win their cooperation. You had no intention of avoiding anyone from... I still don't know how to say that. Karana? I want to say the W is silent. I'm just going to say Karana. You actually wanted Karana and the people working with them to see everything that happened. The political symbol of Yeris' ultimate authority, Ichol Gustav, now in your hands. What do you plan to do? She shrugged and chuckled softly. Her once forceful attitude vanished instantly, a solemn wave of exhaustion and helplessness taking its place. It was seemingly silently asking, "What can I do?" Haru and Tess were completely dissatisfied with all of his behavior. I had to take both of them by the hand, dragging them along to follow her. After the fingers within my grasp and were no longer stiff from anger and the cold, Oliver, who had been leading the way, also stopped. We were standing in a vast living space. It was well furnished and elaborately decorated, maximizing aesthetics while still ensuring practicality. If no one said otherwise, it would be easy to forget this was actually an underground living space. With this, the wealth and power of the former Yeris Federation was somewhat evident. The Duchess brought her medical nebulizer to her mouth and drew a deep breath, seemingly using this ritualistic motion to calm her emotions. She then reached out to the soldier next to her. The soldier wearing a brown scrubby uniform pulled out his pistol carefully and respectfully handing it over to the judges. She directed this plea to us. I could feel Tiss's nervousness and anger as her sharp nails dug into my palm. When my other palm was suddenly empty, Haru had already shaken off my hand, bounded forward, and stopped the Duchess from taking another step. Unlike before, Oliver's face was now expressionless, as if she was wearing a mask made of ice. The frustrated resistance soldier drew his rifle, but Haru didn't care whatsoever, firmly remaining in front of Oliver. I watched on as the Duchess's once upright back began to slowly bend. She suddenly turned around, gazing at me from where she stood. Just tell me, what do we need to do to save those people? She didn't continue speaking. Instead, she lowered her head, pulled the slide of the pistol in her hand, and checked how many bullets were in the chamber. I had a nagging feeling in my heart, as if someone was shouting at me, telling me that everything this woman said was a lie. She was only gambling on whether I would help, gambling on whether I would really be her ally in this complex situation. And her gamble had paid off, at least this time. Check out this one, because I think this is extra story. Oh, back here, back at headquarters. The door was sealed, the lights dim. A holographic image was being projected on the tactical tower communicator as she stood before it. The lavishly decorated parlor was in complete disarray. In the middle of the hologram were two bodies stacked on top of one another. Her tone and behavior remained calm and steady, but the contemptuous laugh from the other side of the screen seemed to indicate that she wouldn't be holding the cards in the conversation that was to follow. Even though the tone was calm and respectful, the statements made were, without a doubt, a series of blows intended to put pressure on her. Before hanging up the call, the person on the other end left her with an ultimatum. With the flash of light, the huge image in front of her disappeared, and the white noise in the background of the communication vanished. The entire combat meeting room went silent in an instant. The automatic door slid open. Footsteps moved into the distance, heading down the deserted hallway. It was white as snow, absolutely spotless. She'd once preferred this decor. She had suppressed, controlled, and abandoned all desire, leaving only pure rationality amidst her goals. She couldn't remember how long it had taken her to get where she was today. Now, everything here belonged to her and her alone. But it wasn't her empire. She didn't want it. Although she sat at the top, she had no interest whatsoever in the throne. The cost of eliminating the board was more than she had anticipated. Other people must have seen her as a vile usurper. Partners who had a close relationship with the former directors slowly began to distance themselves from her. It wasn't only because she'd spent the first half of her life concentrated on research, technology, and creating gods. She had always set her sights as high as possible, constantly fantasizing about embracing the purest landscape. She ignored the reality and that the land people live on is dirty, riddled with muck and ash. Due to Eddie's declaration of war and the unique manner in which it was communicated, the pressure bearing down on Yggdrasil had abruptly increased. Heimdall alone couldn't handle the trees popping up all over the globe at the same time. When the people all expect something from you, but you are unable to react, your fate is already sealed. She walked into the place she was most unfamiliar with in the entire company. Although she had recruited them, she had seemingly never before walked into their lives. It was late, but most of her battle idols still hadn't returned to their rooms. They were standing or sitting around the base hall, gathering in groups with brooding expressions. She didn't respond, instead heading directly upstairs. One of the operatives was woken by the sound and turned on her light. The sudden brightness made her squint. T walked up to one of the doors and slowly raised a fist, ready to knock. The door had opened before T could knock. Inside, Silas shrank back anxiously, unwilling to even meet her gaze. No one could have expected this. Just then, all of the Heimdall operatives in the base opened their eyes wide, staring at T and Silas. The girl's words trembled uncontrollably as she spoke, becoming quieter and quieter until they were nearly a whisper. Even so, there was no doubt that everyone present heard exactly what she said. A light cast T's shadow into Silas's room. The thin, tall darkness seemed to hold some sort of power, causing the already panicked girl to respond firmly. Shouting, gasping for air, and with adrenaline coursing through her veins, Silas almost collapsed after finishing her statement. Tia looked at the girl in front of her and felt the urge to reach out and support her, something she had never done. But before she could move, the Batai operative had already reached out and grabbed onto the door frame to steady herself. Silas's head raised. Full of stubborn determination, there was no way for T to avoid her direct gaze, nor the burning gazes that pierced T's back. On T's way back, she kept thinking, when did I start to make a mistake, and where? She didn't understand others, and she certainly didn't understand why those obedient reserve operatives she called upon on such short notice were so eager for instant success. It was similar to how she didn't understand why those battle idols she viewed simply as tools and necessary collateral on the path to creating gods. They became a united team under my leadership. She had believed that those with outstanding ability only needed a leader who represented absolute authority and a purpose worthy of laying down their lives for. To lead humankind forward, she had sacrificed nearly everything. Now, even her own life had to be preserved year by year. But had she strayed too far from human nature? The intelligence officer's cautious voice sounded from outside, but she had no interest in responding. No one feels pressure when the first snowflake falls. You will only think about where and how to place it, how to allow it to survive and not melt. But snowflakes will fall one after another, constantly. They will fall on your head, on your shoulders, building up, compacting, until even a giant's back is completely bent over, and he finally kneels down and surrenders. Caroline, unaware of what was happening, was startled by her suddenly loud voice. She hastily opened the door and rushed in. T stood up without any hesitation whatsoever, took the card, and inserted it into her portable communicator. Evening, Director T. The situation isn't looking good. I only have enough time to say a few things. Just listen. Ichil was taken from Duchess Oliver's mansion by Katya Clean. We can't trail her now. The other operatives and I are trapped in Baron Prober's bunker. The Duchess you asked me to befriend isn't very friendly. Seems like she's instigating a war with the Karana faction and wants to get us involved. W is in control of Containment Zone 91. He's conducting research, but we're unsure of the specifics. Damn, she wants us to come back. I'll question. I'm not gonna refuse. You think there's still a way for me to get out of here? The whole Northwind Aerospace Center is already filled with traces of your Yggdrasil's involvement. You can't send any more people here, and I can't just leave like this. If I leave, Yggdrasil's reputation is done for. Wait for the tides to shift. Wait for a strong, legitimate reason for you to leverage the company's power. I'll take Haru and Tess with me. We'll give it our all. Even if worst comes to worst, I'll do my best to get rid of the tree. And since you said it's been confirmed that headquarters is safe, make up with the operatives. You're the one who chose them all. Don't doubt them anymore, and stop using them as tools. They've always followed you, and I've always followed you, to where we are today. Since I'm not there, please take care of them like a true superior would. Damn. Director T is changing? For the better? It seems, at least. Yeah, now I can use Kaya again. This all was just for that fight.
これまでの話を全て嘘。実は軍と戦う気なんだ。こんなことをさせるなんて会社と何か取引をしたに違いない。市民と兵士たちになぜこんなものを、まさか武士とでも言うのか。それでいてあんなに多くの人々が彼女を支持しているだと。こんなものを食べ続けていたら死んでしまうぞ。あのね、きっとみんなわかってる。だけど、
Wait, I can't. Oh.
このイエロ社では人の命なんかより雪の方が
Maybe I should have picked a heal off because these are.
腕が鈍
Whoa,
ったな。
whoa, 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 whoa. Okay.
戦場を離れ
Yeah, I need to pick a heal off. I'm gonna go do that. I think that. No, that didn't take up my stamina. Good. Yeah, I'll use Yao. Yeah, I'll use Yao. Right. Let's try this again. Now that we've got a heal off.
耳を貸すな。これまでの話は全て嘘。軍と戦う気なんだ。こんなことをさせるなんて会社と何か取引。市民と兵士たちになぜこんなものを。
Okay.
まさか武士とでも言うのか。それでいてあんなに多くの人々が彼女を支持している。一位先進。
Okay, now I should be
こん
able
な
to.
ものを食べ続けていたら死んでしまうぞ。あのね、きっとみんなわかってる。だけど
You dead?
もう気にしてないの。このイエロ社では人の命なんかより雪の方が長生きするんだ。
Do this first, then go up probably.
過去1年間私はイエロ社で散々痛い目にあった。もしかしてターさんはとっくにあいつらとグルになってるの？情報。
Yeah, there's the globe again. So that is a key card of some sort, I would assume. Or at least some kind of symbol. Sweet. Can I jump this? No. Ah, that's annoying. Surely I can jump that. No. Where'd you go? There you are. Get behind it here.
美しい音だ。補給が来たよ。この程度かすり傷だ。片付けた。目標達成だが気を抜くな。これは名誉と比べれば何の価値もない。
Nope. What do we got? Your... Okay, that's... You're not really strong. I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you're not that strong. Alright. We are getting there. I think we're almost there. This is a halfway point, I think. No, because there's 9. There's 9 battles, action scenes in here. Right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 9. The soldier who had angrily drawn his gun at Haru for stopping Oliver not long before was now so emotional that he was nearly speechless. Tess and Haru had just finished distributing all the medicine, so at least no one would be sitting around waiting to die. Where is Duchess Oliver? It was rare for Tess to lose her temper. Where? Tell me the exact location, I'll go check it out. Your Duchess said herself that I'm your ally now, so as your ally, there are some things I can't just ignore. Haru and Tess stood behind me in silence. Even though the resistance soldier in front of me obviously wasn't happy about it, he would only sigh and give me the location of the interrogation room. You can stop here, I'll go in by myself. It's odd that a spy would appear out of nowhere. All of it is clearly still hiding some things from us. If I go in alone, she'll let her guard down somewhat. Besides, I have something else for you guys to take care of. Yes, it's really important. This bunker is still an unfamiliar environment, but we can't be led around blind by the Duchess all the time. I needed to find some possible escape routes that are safe, just in case. We have to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Ichil is missing, but the Duchess doesn't seem to care. Something isn't adding up. If at all possible, we need to get Ichil back on our own. There's definitely more to that girl than we know. The two well-trained Heimdall operatives quickly disappeared from my sight. I took a deep breath, steadied my emotions, then strode into the interrogation room. As soon as I pushed open the heavy soundproof door, a sharp burning smell assaulted my senses, followed by angry grunts coming from all over. I then heard a series of small, near indiscernible gasps. I heard the crackle of electricity mixed with the pained, muffled groans of an unknown woman. The legs of the steel chairs she sat in grated against the concrete floor. I leaned against the interrogation room wall, released any tension I was holding, and observed Tadine's interrogation emotionlessly. Before the unknown woman secured to the torture device could even finish speaking, she pressed the button in her hand again somberly. For a moment her screams, the sputtering of electricity, and the sound of flesh burning all mixed together, filling the small interrogation room with excruciating echoes. Duchess. Duchess all over. She seemed to finally become aware of my presence. She tossed the button aside, stopped the device, and turned around to rest her forehead against the wall, breathing heavily. Even though the electric current had been cut off, the woman tied to the device was shaking and twitching. It was some time before she finally stopped moving, tilting her head as she panted miserably. While she was still trembling, I saw her take advantage of the moment she turned away, shaking something off her chest onto the ground, then deftly using her toes to kick it over to my feet. A chess piece? That... Was this woman working with Millwood? Just as I had stashed away the queen chess piece, she turned around to ask me this question. An excuse, I guess. We recovered some supplies, and the bunkers we explored have been reconnected to your main bunker. I also thought I should inform you that the injured soldiers you originally intended to kill have been treated in case you wanted to see them. She'd finally put her fatigue on full display. It looked like I needed to lure her out of the interrogation room no matter what. A slightly reckless plan was taking shape in my mind, so I took a few steps toward her. You have to rest. The more this keeps happening, the more you need to rest. Before I could finish, Olova suddenly sagged and fell over into my arms. I'll catch her. I spread my arms almost instinctively, letting you use me as a temporary support, but in the next second I began to regret this decision. A faint sensation of stifling heaviness began to spread throughout my body. Although it was only for a second, my eyes glazed over as if I was about to hallucinate something again. Thankfully, Oliver noticed her mistake in time, hastily putting a hand on my chest and standing up. She turned around and glanced at the woman fixed to the torture device who had seemingly passed out. I can help you keep an eye on things in here. If she wakes up, I can use this Yggdrasil method to see if she's willing to talk. You just need to arrange a few trustworthy men to come here and monitor me. I stared into her eyes, silently waiting for her response. I watched her leave until she completely disappeared. I then switched off all of the monitoring. English is not Englishing today, apparently. I watched her leave until she completely disappeared. I then switched off all of the monitoring equipment in the interrogation room and stood in front of the woman being tortured. Talk. I'm sure you have plenty to say. So she was the one who shot her. To headquarters, the magician leaked confidential intel and refused to follow orders. Code name, Black Hollyhock. Internal Affairs. She's part of Internal Affairs. Okay. But those possible targets also included me and my operatives. A sudden burst of anger caused me to grab the torture device switch nearby, but what little rationality I had left, paired with a woman's wry smile, stopped me from pressing it in the end. Oliver could be back at any time, so tell me the most important stuff. What? The sudden blaring of alarms in the bunker interrupted the conversation between me and the Leviathan member. Approaching footsteps outside only provided me with enough time to give it one last look before I immediately opened the door and walked out. What's going on? No, I'm staying with you guys. Your name is Artyom, right? Tell me exactly what's going on. The resistant soldier whose name I had instantly recalled pushed through his companions. Are you trying to say some have defected to the enemy? I'll handle it. You guys just need to worry about protecting the Duchess for now. And from now on, don't let anyone in or out of the interrogation room. I was well aware that this order would only arouse more suspicion, but I didn't have any other choice. No matter what happened, I had to ensure that that Leviathan member lived and didn't fall into the wrong hands. Thankfully, Artyom didn't give it much thought before turning around and leaving. Haru, Tess, can you hear me? I communicated their orders as briefly as possible. Haru would go search for the group of resistance soldiers who had possibly defected, while Tess would covertly monitor the interrogation room for me. There's something I still need to think about. I won't be long, just make sure to give me regular progress reports. Yes, I did have a few things I need to think about first. Something wasn't right in the interrogation room just now. Physical contact. First Ichil, then all over. Why did I react so strangely and even experience hallucinations when I touched them? And why were my symptoms worse when I touched Ichil and fainter when I touched all of them? Did the problem lie with them or me? If it was them, what did they have in common? I paced around the bunker deep in thought, trying to work out the answers to these questions. When I snapped back to reality, I didn't even know where I was. Cat is back. And she's bleeding? Is that blood? It is. She's dying. Okay. Retrieval. Only Haru, so I'm gonna be monitoring, apparently, is what I'm getting. That's heals, that's gather? Yeah, gather, sure. Wow. Okay.
すごい複雑でとても立派な要塞だ。こんなものを作るために一体何世代の労力を費やしたんだろう。ここの人々が争いを望むのは世代を超えてもなお変わらないこの環境に慣れてしまったからだろうか。戦争がもたらす支配、そして戦争による壊滅から申請できる技術。恐ろしいな。価値もない。一応守ってあげる。一位先進。はっ。の方。はっ。
Survey the bunker terrain.
なるほど。どうやら山全体が掘られて空洞になっているようだ。上はどこまでつながっているんだろう。
Keep going. Okay.
情報収集のためとはいえ、よく一人でここまで来られたな。さすがはイエロー写真と言うべきだろうか。だが任務完了まで気を抜くなよ。
There we go. Did everything.
これは名誉と比べれば何の価値もない。
Okay. That wasn't too bad.
感じたか、その重さを。
Yeah, only took me about a minute 40 seconds. Okay. Hard to tell friend from foe when it's life or death. Haru, wait a minute. As I stood in a deserted lower passageway of the bunker, Haru reported the results of her mission to me via our terminals. However, the unforeseen circumstances I was met with caused me to hesitate as I considered my next steps. Don't rush back just yet. I think I need you to do one more thing for me. No, don't worry. It's still safe here for now. I need you to help me find an empty room. Yes, I need you to find a completely safe, empty room outside the main bunker. Once you find one, send me the coordinates and wait for me there. It's a little hard to explain, so I'll tell you when I see you. I hung up the communication, organized my thoughts for a moment, then turned and walked into the room behind me. Enough, cat, you're clean. What about Ichil? You're here, so where is she? Where are you keeping her, and who did you hand her off to? Why are you here in this bunker? She was unbelievably stubborn. I didn't have to get close to see she was seriously injured and barely able to move. If I left her here, her fate was sealed. But I couldn't let her die like that. No matter what it took, I had to make her talk. At the very least, I needed her to reveal Ichel's location first. So I tried to my best to put on an indifferent expression, taking step after step toward her. Pick Katya up. I slipped my arms behind her neck and knees, lifting her into my embrace with a calm breath. She was heavier than I expected, or perhaps it was because she was moving around restlessly in my arms. Under normal circumstances, she might have been able to break free, however, she was seriously injured. Her fists pounding against me frantically were extremely weak. I can't do anything with you, but that's not true for Oliver. Do you want to see the difference between when I ask a question and when she does? You can shout louder. Everyone here works for her. If you feel like your voice isn't loud enough on its own, I'll help you get attention. I needed to be harsh. I had to make her cooperate before we left this room, or I wouldn't be able to get her to a safe place. But she seemed to fall silent too quickly. I couldn't help lowering my head to glance at her face. As soon as she finished speaking, the weight in my arms suddenly grew lighter, and my vision, Katya's bodies, immediately grew hazy. Before I could even react to this strange occurrence, the familiar sensation of stifling heaviness from before suddenly overcame me. My sight went dark, and it was as if my heart was being gripped by an invisible hand. My mind flooded with countless bizarre hallucinations and whispers. How are you making me see that stuff too? First Ichol, then Oliver, now you too? What the hell is going on? When I regained consciousness, I was on hands and knees supporting my powerless body. Katya stood aside with her arms folded, staring at me coldly. Yes, you could say that. Call Tess over and wait for me. I'll be there soon. Though her words were unforgiving, she followed behind me silently when I left the room. As a response to Karina's faction's potential attack, most of the resistance soldiers were temporarily concentrated near the entrances connecting the bunker to the outside, readying for a fight. I was prepared for the worst, but to my surprise, Katya and I barely saw anyone along the way, none of whom took notice of us. We quickly arrived at the location Haru sent me. Haru and Tess, were unsurprising, incredibly wary of Katya. Their concern was apparent on their faces, but I didn't have time to respond to their gestures. I turned to look at Katya, who had remained silent. She was leaning up against the wall, holding a test tube filled with a strange liquid. I saw a hallucination. It was like coming into contact with highly concentrated hydrogen. I felt faint and nauseous, and I saw a bunch of stuff that looked like fragments of other people's memories. I decided not to turn around and look at the expressions on Tess and Haru's faces. For now, I chose to focus on Katya's question. Excuse me, I've got something, like, in my throat that I can't shake. I don't know what it is, but it's really annoying me. I might have to quickly... try and like blow my nose maybe to get it out. Or I don't know what it is, but it is seriously annoying me. Hang on. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. Okay, I think it's okay. It's better, at least. As she spoke, Katya suddenly threw the test tube in her hand to the ground. With the sound of the glass shattering, the liquid inside instantly vaporized into nothingness. She stopped Hara and Tess before they could run over, but I could only stand there dumbfounded. It's not that I didn't want to do anything, but when Katya broke the test tube, my body immediately began to feel like it had before. I followed her orders in a daze, as if I was her puppet. With a movement on my body, my hands, arms, face, then neck shifted too. Though I was only taking a few unobstructed steps forward, it was as if all of the tactile cells in my body were on fire. Something I couldn't see was touching me and merging into my body. For the glory of Yaris. To become body. Except its core become one with all. Regardless of what you see, you must do whatever it takes to forget them all. Her voice seemed close yet distant. I opened my eyes, and for a moment it was difficult to tell if I'd come back to reality or if I was still trapped in my stifling, heavy hallucination. I saw a fragmented human form drifting through the air. It had the same unique sheen as Titanogen, but it seemed to be lacking physical substance. I spotted Tess and Haru furiously drawing their weapons and aiming them at Katya, but the latter just continued to stare at me intently. Give me a sec. It's doing it again. Just get a tissue. As she looked at me, Katya opened her arms and absorbed all of the fragmented Titogen that still hadn't entered my body. She then fell onto me like a kite with a snapped string. I could no longer handle the chaotic hallucinations plaguing my mind, and I lost consciousness. Deep within the bunker, Olova stood before a towering wall full of memorial tablets, lowering her head as she contemplated. So they are working together. The loyal guard left quickly. She turned around once again, facing the wall filled with the remains of martyrs. She inadvertently bit her lower lip until her teeth broke the skin. She felt warmth as a metallic smell rushed to her nose, causing her to open her mouth as she shook uncontrollably. At some point, her whispers had transformed into thundering shouts. Her excited voice, full of venom and hatred, circled the round memorial hall, seemingly awakening an echo within it. Her artificial lungs placed a heavy burden on her body. The air she was breathing in from her medical nebulizer was seemingly unable to meet her body's needs. Oddly weighed down by a sensation of stifling heaviness, she couldn't stop herself from coughing up a mouthful of blood. The next day at sundown, Katya, Haru, and I covertly left the bunker under the cover of Tessa's magic. We were on the main street of Yerus's most well-known underground intelligence market, Black Ice Alley. According to Katya, both of our bodies needed treating, and we could find answers to several of our questions here. Last night, after her attitude had softened, I talked to her for a long time. She told me how she had kidnapped Ichil as an opportunity to get close to and assassinate W, but she ultimately failed and was injured after her plan was discovered. That was her side of the story, and I had no choice but to believe it for the time being. Why do we need to come here to find answers about Titanjin? About what Titanjin is doing to me? She reached out and started patting me down without even giving me the chance to respond. Haru looked like she was about to burst into flames at any moment, but Katya couldn't care less. Hey, you need to tell it to me straight. Why would these intelligence brokers be willing to tell me the truth? I don't even know them. I assumed she'd been gone for a while, but she has surprisingly emerged from the crowd in the blink of an eye, followed by a young woman. The young intelligence broker led us through Black Ice Alley until we finally entered what seems to be an abandoned building. Hey, wait, you... She shut me up with just a few words. Haru and I were left to follow the intelligence broker into a small closed-off room, temporarily relinquishing all control. Thinking back, it's true that I hadn't considered the thing intelligence brokers value most when trading, confidentiality, but my bigger mistake was underestimating Katya's independence and impulsiveness. First Ichil, then all over, now you two, what the hell is going on? Here we go. The third last. And yeah, I needed stamina. Only Katya. That's the wrong chin. There we go. Heals and... I'm actually curious, I'll try this. I wonder if you can do... Frishi's support skill with crossbows.
この屋敷と要塞、そしてオメガが隠れているあの宇宙センター、このバレンツ機器の拠点の間にはきっと何か関係がある。
Oh, we're going back through? I jump out? Nope, not right now. I can now. That's my nope. That's my shot. Can I just jump? No.
富への欲望も気持ちも全部顔に出てるわ。人を従わせることで頭がいっぱいの連中はこんな目に遭うのも自業自得よ。
We can't do that. That's annoying. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Ah, I thought I got it. Can I just jump? Yep. Cool.
他の子に回収してもらえばいい。そこで待っててね、分析員。いい男が子供みたいな寂しがり屋だなんて嫌われるわよ。褒めてあげる。焦らないで。すぐに終わる。計算通り。あなたはもう残念。図星のようね。
It does work.
その勇気は褒めてあげる。
Frishi's support skill does work with Katya's E. That could actually be pretty strong. The dethroned queen shall fall. The bishop. Okay. So they go by chess pieces. The intelligence broker sat on the couch across from me, seemingly unconcerned with the thick layer of dust on the table between us. Fiddling with the two white chess pieces, she slowly pulled out an old hourglass and placed it upside down on the table. Two chess pieces, 2 hours? That is a long time of questioning. Remained silent. She changed her posture, clearly waiting for me to speak up first. However, I had no intention of playing along. In the presence of an unfamiliar individual in an unfamiliar place, I had no idea how many potential dangers loomed over me. Although I had so many burning questions, I wanted to get my answers by saying as little as possible. I thought Katya already made it clear to you what I wanted to know. I'm just looking for answers, so you're up. The young woman narrowed her eyes, nonchalantly meeting my gaze. After some time, her tense shoulders suddenly relaxed. she was finally willing to play her part. As it was my turn to speak, I carefully mulled over what I wanted to say. No, never. The first time I had a reaction like this was probably... when I touched Ichel, I hallucinated. In a hallway in the mansion, that girl named Pavlina and that guy named Arsene. The reporters from Karina shot her, and right in front of my eyes, she turned into something I can't even explain. No, she just kept struggling in front of me, then she dissolved away. The next time was in the interrogation room in the bunker. The moment when I held all over, I felt something similar, but it wasn't as strong. The last time was with Katya. We had direct contact multiple times, but it seemed like she could consciously control whether or not I could see that stuff. Where did it start? The first time? Right. Even if it was, what would it imply? Are you saying the medical department at Yggdrasil did something to me when I was being treated? The Karina reporters had turned Pavlina into a monster. Karina soldiers created a situation in which Barency Primer's resistance soldiers would have to be executed by their own men if they were injured. And they're not protecting W, being controlled. The assassin who infiltrated Yggdrasil was sent by W. That shot changed something in my body. T took the report from the intelligence officer, scanned it for a moment, then returned it. I should have died. Was this the price for my life? She suddenly laughed and then reached out to pick up the queen chess piece. She continuously rubbed it with her long, slender fingers, staring at its smooth surface. You're no ordinary intelligence broker. I'm the queen, yeah. The queen married the bishop? You said you were Mildred's prisoner, and you told me so much intel without a second thought. Is it safe to assume you want to stop W2? Tell me, where is he? How do I find and stop him? You don't want to tell me, or you don't know? Your time... Oh. What's this? Just tell me what you want to know. Well, we can't exactly tell you that. You still want to be the queen? As soon as she finished speaking, the door opened. Several middle-aged individuals with unwelcoming faces walked in and stared at us without a word. Haru sprang up and stood in front of me, holding both a pistol and a dagger in her hands. She angrily scanned the intelligence brokers that had entered, but no one dared meet her gaze. I observed each of their faces as Haru threatened them, realizing that their expressions were strange. Even the queen in front of me looked completely confused. Wait, Haru? Lee from the Beowulf Battalion stepped through the door as her voice sounded, followed by a small squad of fully armed soldiers. It seemed like Lee came prepared. I told her what had happened in the canyon of the parish before, and this seemed like some sort of response. Hey, what a coincidence. I thought I wasn't either. As Haru and I followed Lee out of the building and emerged once again into Black Eye's alley, we saw that the entire road was now under military control. This is a bit heavy-handed. What about the Karana faction commands and W? Shouldn't they be held responsible? I didn't interfere with any politics here, Captain Lee. I came here to deal with the tree. We've worked together before. You know full well that Heimdall only handles problems related to Titans. I'm still working on it. Before I'd even realized it, we had reached the end of Black Ice Alley. The entrance to the bunker was up ahead. Lee stood still and gazed at me deeply. You guys have no idea what you're up against. You don't know how crazy W is and what he's done. That's not where I need to go. If you really want to help, bring your men back to the bunker with me. I need to recover one of my operatives and get a high-value target out of there. Then goodbye, Captain Lee. I hope your later negotiations go smoother than ours just did. She was an excellent soldier, and I could understand where she was coming from. But there can sometimes be too many barriers between understanding and cooperation. It was an unavoidable yet regrettable fact. I knew it. I thought she had just been hiding from Lee and his soldiers, but she still hadn't shown up. That meant she was acting on her own again. Contact her and explain the situation. At this point, we get to use all the help we can get. And where is Tess? You still can't contact her? The bunker was already filled with the sound of shooting. As Haru shook her head silently, my heart sank even deeper. Come on, let's go find her. Just as I was attempting to comfort both Haru and myself so we could better face this complex situation, an intense shaking suddenly began to spread from the end of the hallway to our feet. My body shook with the powerful tremors under my feet, causing me to lose my balance and fall to the ground. Haru rushed over to try to catch me, but an explosion flung her away. A massive explosion almost rendered me deaf, and I fell to my knees in a daze. I watched Haru open her mouth to say something as she attempted to run toward me. The next second, I felt nothing beneath my feet. I fell into the unknown along with the rubble and crumbling bricks. Well, nearly done. Same thing. Trial Kaya. I cannot trial Kaya, because technically she's not here. Which is fine. That and heals. Okay, we're starting from where Kaya left off.
よくわからないの。この要塞はまるで迷宮みたい。でも敵はいないし、空っぽだ。あなたはもう自由だよ。双方。どうしよう。どこも敵が見張ってて出られないよ。もうどこ行っちゃったの分析。そこで隠れてろ。絶対に出るな。なんとかして迎えに行く。いいか。あいつらは本物の戦闘狂だ。もし敵に遭遇したら、まずは逃げることを考えろ。絶対に敵に立ち向かうなよ。双方一位前進。朗報。
Tess is safe.
優秀な戦士は自身のコンディション管理もできるものだ。これは名誉と比べれば何の価値もない。美しい音だ。ここか。間違いないよ。この近く。双方。
It's gonna open the door? No? Okay. Oh, opened a door, but not the door I was thinking. Okay. Okay. This is the boss room. Alright, I need Fenny, because I know this thing has a massive shield. Most of its health is just shield. And then its actual health is, like, nothing. So. Fenny it is. Yes. Okay, yeah, no, I gotta do this.
まさか新型。この技術を手に入れてからまだ半年も経ってないのに、もう実戦に投入してるのか。今変えてるわよ。
Should be able to do that. And, baby stun? No, can't get stunned. Okay. Aw. Once I end up taking it out, it'll be taking the shield out. It'll be smooth sailing. I can just destroy it with Haru, I think. I hope. Here we go. Oh, Katya's here. Katya just saved it? Katya saved us? Wait, that was actually kind of cool. Wait, that was a cool cutscene. She threw her arms around me in desperation, holding me tightly as her tears soaked into my chest. I looked over at Katya, who was unsurprisingly snickering, even though there was a thinly veiled exhaustion in her smile. Haru stepped forward, walked over to Katya, and reached out to her as she sat on the ground. She looked over at me, avoiding Haru's hand. Her blue eyes sparkled, putting me in somewhat of a trance. Her words were cold, but Katya reached out to grab Haru's hand, allowing her to help her up. Katya seemed quite relaxed now. After mellowing out, the unruly energy present in her personality was even more apparent. As she's being taken. In the depths of the cramped lab, the small girl sat inside some kind of peculiar convoluted experimental equipment. She squeezed her eyes shut, gritting her teeth as she tried to endure the unbearable pain. The fanatical doctor continued to murmur to himself, oblivious to the insidious expression on the other man's face. As the latter walked away, there was a chill in his footsteps. Even if they didn't actually plant any moles inside the company, they would have just needed to spread the word. Then, knowing how cautious and distrustful T is, she would have certainly been led to believe there were vestiges on of the board within the company. No matter if I ended up dead or alive, that action in itself must have made T even more suspicious of the company's internals. She doesn't handle this stuff well. Once that doubt enters her mind, she'll use the most brash means to handle it. If I had died, Heimdall wouldn't have had a leader, and she wouldn't have been able to find a suitable replacement on short notice. the Heimdall force would inevitably struggle to function. But trees were popping up all over the world back then. Tytogen was becoming a problem for all of humankind. And even if I survived the assassination, W knew that she'd need to find someone to work for her as soon as possible. She would be worried about the security within Yggdrasil, and she'd find a way to send me away while she ensured that the company was safe. I know her, but the board knows her even better. In her eyes, how far does she need to go before she can ensure the company is safe? Unbelievable. She should have been upfront with me from the beginning. Ichel. It's like she fell right out of the sky and into our laps. What's this? A clean quarantine room? I was startled by the change in her tone. With Katya's reminder, I suddenly realized that Haru and Tessa's expressions looked somewhat uncomfortable. However, what made me even more uneasy was the fact that my body was clearly weaker than my squad mates. So, if there really was highly concentrated Titanogen everywhere here, like Katya said, but why don't I feel anything? She suddenly looked at me with a fiery gaze. A golden light seemingly shone in her blue eyes. I remembered that light. It was the same light that appeared in her eyes when she guided me in absorbing fragmented Titanogen in the bunker. To be continued. There we go. Wow. That in itself took about 2 hours. And there's still technically this to do, but I'll do it. But my assumption is this is going to be a teaser for part 2. Oh, Chin-Ching. Yeah, okay. It is what I thought. This seems to be preparation for what's to come. Finny and Acacia? Before Caroline could even finish speaking, the clinic door flew open. A blonde lioness stood in the hallway, furious. Another blonde? Oh, Fenny. I thought it was another blonde, because Fenny was just there. His life. True, but I mean, we had no idea what they were actually up to. And Director T didn't even know what was going on. She's best. The meeting was already tense. When Chen Xing pressured the military representative, her opponent was seemingly determined to shift the responsibility onto Yggdrasil. But suddenly the office door swung open. Fenny's defiant smoke and Acacia's signature sigh interrupted the standoff. Acacia grumbled behind Fenny, supporting a tall figure, and she walked in. Live Bestlar. With Acacia's support, the former Battle Idol champion walked in slowly, with a weak but determined stride. While everyone present couldn't help but stare at her in awe, her own gaze pierced through them to another space at another time. Oh. Uh-oh. She gonna flood? Yeah. I think she's flooding. Uh-oh. That's probably not good. But yeah, now that is finally done. That was very interesting. I'll give it that. Let me claim all this. Wow. Yeah. Oh, no way. Haru's coming back out, so I might be able to, grab that. But yeah. That was certainly an interesting part 1. Considering, yeah, it'll say it in here, fight. Chapter 12, part 1. That was very interesting. And yeah. I'm not sure what to say. That was really interesting. How, things turned out there. But I assume everything will finally come together again during chapter 12 part 2. But yeah, that was certainly something. Oh yes, and the parts where this came out. So I'm gonna do this quickly, actually, and then end off.
すぐに終わります。装填中です。
Too bad. Especially because I'm so far away. Not many bits attacks can hit me. Ah, piece of work. Might not do that. Gonna swerve. I almost dodged that, but alright, it's on. This should shred through it now. Dang. There goes that. Here we go. Goodbye. Alright. Got a couple more of those to do, but those will come out later. So, I won't be able to do them all on stream. Not that I think that's very important. Yeah, 17 hours, 1 day, and then 2 days till Brave Squad. Right. Well, I think that for the most part is everything. We've been going for almost 3 hours, so it was pretty well timed. So yeah, I think this is enough to call it. I'm going to, yeah, I'll call it here. Ah, there goes my, yeah, there goes my frame, unfortunately. This one doesn't look too bad either, but the top 5% one looks nicer. Which I want to see actually. Is that open? It is open! Hold on. It is open. I can run through this very quickly. I quickly want to see the electrical resistance. Right, so that would be, yeah. It'll be life. Life, I think. What do I usually use? Life, Acacia, not Hush, Little Sunshine. Alright, I'll quickly run through these. Just to, check out what's going on. Shred through it. Okay. I am technically able to skip these to make it easier, but I'll run through them and just see. I'll skip 3, actually. I'll skip the 3rd one. Skip this one, and then do this one. Because this generally gives me a taste of how well I do playing the 5th stage 5, difficulty 5. Stop. Oh my god, you're annoying. It's gone. Okay, well this is just a poor attempt. Okay, but that is very strong. Okay.
道を守ってあげる
This is gonna be the dangerous part. Ooh, 3 or 5? Okay, it's 3 this one.
我が怒りを思い知れあなたはもう自由だよ予備は十分にある
Oh, that hit me.
慌てる必要はないあなたはもう道を守ってあげるお前にふさわしい場所はバルハラだ
Okay. That was probably not the greatest.
ダンス
Yeah,
は得意では
110
ない
seconds. I will definitely need to
今なら少しくらい
try to perform much better on difficulty 5. But for now, that's I think everything. I mean, I could poll technically, but I don't know if I really want Katya. And Haru is coming out after, which ooh, I do want Haru. Cause she's this one, the one that I was pistol user. She's very strong, and I've yet to get her, so I do want her. Anyway, I think that will now do it for real. I forgot my neural sim was open, so yeah, I think that'll do it for real. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna stop streaming and probably get off my computer because I've been on it way too long today already, so yeah, might be time to get off and have a break. So without further ado, once more, thank you for tuning in, and I do have a plan to stream Friday. It will be Stardew Valley. I intend to start a Stardew Valley playthrough, which I can just kind of continue whenever I feel. Yeah, so if you're interested in Stardew, that'll be Friday at about 4 p.m. AEST. Actually, I think it's AEDT because daylight savings is still going, I think. I don't know. It'll either be 4 or technically 5, but it's 4. Yeah. So if you would like to see that, feel free to drop by Friday. And yeah, I'll see you guys. I'll see you all then.